So hello everyone and welcome to the 12th and final episode of the Ignites Knowledge series entitled What Is? My name is Neo and together with Ilva, Gustavo and Xuanming, my co-founders of Ignites, we hope that everyone who is tuning in today is ready to learn and enrich their brain. So since we launched the Ignites Knowledge What Is series in July, we have covered various topics in the sport events industry, ranging from sports scheduling to village allotment to the safest way to readmit fans to stadiums amidst this pandemic. And the previous episode that we had, we actually tackled the topic of event evaluation. So all of our episodes are available on our YouTube channel. So if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, do it right now. So if you have not joined us before, allow me to give you a brief introduction about Ignites and let you know why we have launched this online series. Ignites is an international network of event professionals who we really want to make a difference in the event world. We provide specialized consultancy services in combination with active and integrated support of project delivery. We are also strong advocates of education, and it is one of Ignites' main pillars. Within the scope of education is knowledge sharing, and we believe that knowledge sharing is vital to the continued innovation and improvement of policies and processes in the sports industry, and actually in all industries for that matter. With that in mind, Ignites launching this What Is series, which actually today is our final episode already, serves as a cornerstone of what we hope to be a rich source of information for future and established event professionals alike. The founders of Ignites, who have been working in the industry for the past decade, realized that it is not easy to obtain information and knowledge of the industry, especially in specific topics around the planning and organization of a sport event without getting practical experience working in an organizing committee or attending a sport management course. So, the aim of this series is to provide you some of that knowledge and information about specific areas in events. Today, to close up season 1 of the Ignites Knowledge What Is series, which is the 12th episode, I think it's a very nice number to finish the season, we will be addressing the main reason for a competition to be held, a final and literally nerve-wracking element in sports events, which is results. We are sure that everyone has experienced that feeling when you are just at the end of your seats waiting for the results of the diving competition or the athletics competition in front of your TV. How do you think those results are generated? So to unravel the basic complexity, because if we go into too much detail, we won't even have one day. We need like 1 week or even more than 1 month to understand the entire thing. So today we're just going to touch on the basic complexity of it. We have invited my fellow Malaysian, Chan Heng Hong, to unravel a little bit of this complexity and mystery. Heng Hong has 18 years of experience working in various areas of technology in major sporting events, including the inaugural Singapore 2010 Youth Olympic Games, the Rio 2016 Olympic and Paralympic Games, and most recently at the Dubai Expo 2020. So I'm not going to waste any more time, and we shall welcome Heng Hong to the stage. Hi, Heng Hong, how are you?
Hi, everyone. Hi.
Everything good?
Yes, everything well here.
So exactly where are you right now?
I'm in Greece. I'm in Greece at the moment. I'm in the very nice big island of Crete in the south of Greece. So everything is still green outside with the blue sky, sunny weather. So not like the rest of Europe. So it's very, very nice here and very chill here.
Okay, so it reminds you a little bit of Malaysia, right?
Yeah, except the food. Except I will miss the food so much.
I bet.
Yes. Yeah.
So, Heng Hong, I understand that you are also currently doing your MBA. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah. Well, so I'm doing an MBA with the IE Business School, which is a business school in Spain. but I'm doing it with the blended program, which is I'm doing it mostly online, but I sometimes travel to some other schools or places to study my MBA. So I will go to Madrid 2 times. I've already been to Sao Paulo once, and also I've been to Singapore once as well, okay, to do my study there. So it's a very nice program that give me very different perspective about running business, general management, from finance all the way to operational management to strategy, and most importantly, my favorite is digital transformation. Okay, that really go into the details, okay, on how we can use technology to transform an organizations.
Very nice. So I think, this year is a perfect year to educate ourselves and to enrich ourselves, you know, amidst this pandemic that is happening around the world.
Yeah, and hopefully I can bring a little bit of what I learned within this course about digital transformation into the webinar today.
Very nice. Okay, so I'm not gonna take up more of your time. I'm going to hand you the floor. And for those of you in the audience, if you have any questions during the course of the presentation, please do not hesitate to type them in the chat. And Heng Hong will get to you with his answers later on. All right, Heng Hong, all to you.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Again, my name is Heng Hong. So welcome to this very nice webinar that I'm going to tell you about the very interesting result system. Okay, so what is result system? So I'm just going to bring you through a few things. Okay, first, we will talk about a bit of the system, what are the key building blocks and the stakeholders of it, the timeline to build the system, and also some reflections about it. First of all, let's have a quick video on this. Well, you just see a bunch of people running, right? But who are these athletes? Who won? What is the result? So we are missing something here. What it is missing is the result system, because without it, we are completely lost. So the result system is important because it allows all the different client groups, like you, me, the viewer, the athlete, to know what is the story of the competition during the games. It's break into 3 different parts, where we have the timing of scoring, the result distribution, and the game's website and mobile apps. The timing and scoring system would capture all the information of the athlete in the field of play and display them in the venue. The result distribution system would consolidate all this data and then send it to different clients. And finally, the games network, all the mobile apps, would display the results. So let's look at it in more details. So the first part, in the timing and scoring, who need it and why do we need it? The athlete need it because they need it to know their performance and create their stories of their performance in the field of plays, where also the technical official will use the system to manage the competitions, such as who starts first, how to enter the scores, what is current scores, and so forth. Then, since to use this system, they would use it in the following way. For example, in swimming, when the clock starts, when the swimmer jumps into the pool, the data is sent from the starting block to the control room, where the reaction time of the swimmer is sent to the room. And then the control room would send to the public scoreboard and the commentator system to display the information to the client. And afterwards, when the athlete reached the finish line, the moment when they touch the touchpad, the data is sent to the control rooms And then from the control rooms, it's sent to the public scoreboard so that you know what is the final score and the final result of the swimmers. So this is how timing and scoring, okay, is used for the athlete and the technical officials. The next part, the information is also needed by the press and the TV commentator to tell the stories about the competitions. The press will need this information so that they can write them on to the news for their respective newspaper. And the TV commentator will need to tell the story during the live broadcast to tell the viewer what is actually happening. So the system that they use as part of the result system would be the result distribution system. The TV commentator would use a commentator information system that gives them live information that they got the result within 0.3 seconds so that they can comment on the competition live. While the press, they would use info system to gather data of the athletes, such as what is their bio, when is the press conference going to happen, and also they would also use printed report, which is paper that they are going to have a look and then to report on the competitions. And finally, who else also need the system? The spectators and the TV viewers, so that they can follow the competitions and follow the stories of the competition itself, such as what is the score of their favorite teams and when is their favorite athletes going to compete, so forth. In order to follow competitions during a live TV, they will need TV graphics. Have a look on the flowing. Yeah. So you can see what is the event that is happening now, okay, which is the men's 100. The list of all the athletes that's going to compete, okay, in the event, with all the lane of itself, exactly who is the name of the athlete that is there. Okay. Here in this competition, we will be able to see the famous Usain Bolt, yeah, and the lane of each of the athlete and the country that they represented, and all of that. Yeah, and when the competition starts, you'll be able to see the running time plus the record for the world and the Olympic record. And when it's finished, you'll be able to see exactly what is the winning time of the race. With all this information, you know exactly, okay, what is going to happen, what had happened in the stories. And in comparison to the first video that you saw, when you're completely lost, here you are very clear who had won and what is the score about it. And at the same time, the viewer and the spectator can also follow the competition through the official website and also their mobile apps when they are on the go. Here are the example of the screenshots from the official websites and the mobile apps of Rio 2016. So all these together, these are all the result system where they are all connecting together. On the top, you can see the timing and scoring system running at the venue, where the timing and scoring will send to the on-venue result and send to the scoreboard. And at the same time, they will transmit the data to the central system, which include the result distribution system. And then the data will be distributed to the games website, to the press and other systems as well. So these are the nutshell of what is the result system. However, to deliver the system, we need key building blocks and the stakeholders. Otherwise, the system cannot be delivered and operated properly. The first part, the most important part, and the most fundamental building block is the data. Without the data, we will not be able to construct the stories. First, you have the data that's coming from the timing and scoring system, where, as we mentioned before, you will gather all the result of the athlete, okay, and record them, and then send it to the result distribution system. Then we also relies on accreditation system where it provides personal information of the athlete, such as their names, their countries. We also relies on sport entry system where it provides information such as which events that the athlete has entered and will compete in. We also rely on the data provider that provides athlete biography, such as what is their historical result in other events or in previous Olympic Games, and also what is their favorite quotes that they have mentioned before. All these allow the different people, such as the press and the TV viewers and also the TV commentators, to construct stories for the athlete and the competitions. And the second building block is the platform where this data are being transmitted and diffused. So it relies on all the infrastructures and the platform providers to send this data to all different clients. First, you need the cloud system or the cloud infrastructures where the system can be accessed from everywhere in the world and where the data is being received. And to transmit the data, you also need network infrastructures such as wired network or wireless network to transmit the data. And finally, on top of this, you also need the system, which is the this diffusion system that we mentioned before, to transmit and diffuse this system and the data to the different clients. And the third building block is the people. Without the people, we will not be able to deliver the services for the result. First, you need the technology team within the organizing committee, such as the result team that is responsible for the result system, the venue technology team that is responsible for the venue infrastructures, and the telecom team that is responsible for the wired and the wireless network. We also rely on the different functional areas within the organizing committee, such as the sport team that is managing the competitions, or the transportation team, which will provide the accreditation data, the personal information of the athlete, and the sport entry teams. They will provide the sport entries. We also highly rely on the volunteers, which are a very important part of the games. The volunteer assists the organizing committee in running the games, and without them, we will not be able to complete many of the tasks, such as keying in some of the score, keying in some of the statistics, or delivering some of the printed reports, for example. And finally, on the people side, we also rely on the technology partners that is providing all the system and making sure that all the system is running properly and functioning as it's intended to be according to the service level. To govern all these three building blocks, we require a very structured governance. This governance, is provided by the organizing committee working together with other stakeholders such as the IOC, the federations, and so forth. The governance will provide the games delivery plan, which has a timeline on each of the different stages of the delivery, such as the planning phase of the games, implementation phase of the game, the testing phase, and the operation phase. While within the technology itself, we also have the technology master plan that would say when is a system is supposed to be delivered, when it's supposed to be tested, to be integrated together, and to be tested, in real time in the test event, which we will gather everything together with real competitions and try to run the system to make sure that the system is running properly. And of course, the governance itself, we must have risk and issue in order to manage them, to make sure that we identify all the different risks and we know how to handle if there's any issue that happen. However, one key element of the whole building block is the culture itself. The culture where everybody is working as this one team to have one common goal to deliver the games. So there is no separation between whether you are an organizing committee or a technical provider or a federation. Everybody working as one single team to deliver the services and to deliver the system so that everybody can have a good games for the system itself. And finally, okay, once you have all these building blocks, we're able to provide the services to the different clients, where we are able to capture the services and we are able to tell the stories, and so that the viewers and the spectators are able to follow the stories itself. So these are the building blocks of delivering the result system. Next, the timeline to deliver it. Of course, the timeline to deliver the result system is rather complicated, but this is a rather simplified timeline. First, roughly around 3 years before the games, here we are using example of the Olympic Games, we will start to gather all the requirement for the system. We will gather information coming from the sport federations about the new rules, and we'll gather information and requirements coming from the Olympic broadcasting services on what are the data that need to be gathered, and so forth. Then roughly 30 months before the games, the implementation of the different systems started. Around 2 years before the games, the system will start to be delivered and will be tested together, okay, to make sure that all the systems are working. And roughly 1 year before the games, we will start to have user acceptance tests to make sure that all the different clients accept the system as they accept that the system is running according to their requirement and what they have defined. Then also 2 years before, 1 year before the games, okay, we will also have test event or technical rehearsal, where we will test the system together with the operation of the system to make sure that the system is running properly in an actual event. So usually 1 year before the games, we will have a first wave of the test event that is starting, and then subsequently we'll have multiple test events that will test every single sport together with the system itself. Then depending on when the competition starts, the operation will start roughly sometimes 1 day or 2 days before the competitions. And once the game have started, okay, and finished, then the system will be decommissioned 2 weeks after, roughly. So this is a generic timeline of what the system is going to be delivered. And the final part, what make it fun and challenging? Well, what make it interesting is last minute changes. Here you can see the green pool of diving in Rio. So I think that probably you have seen it and you'll still remember it. Well, the next pool next to it is actually the synchronized swimming pool. During the games, before the synchronized swimming competition start, that pool is also turning green. And as the synchronized swimming has a lot of underwater shots, green water, it doesn't seem very nice for the TV viewer. Therefore, the day before the competitions, the organizing committee had to change the entire pool, okay, with the water from a pool in the swimming venue, which is around half a kilometers away. So there's a big logistic and operation just trying to change the pool the night before the competitions. And this is not the only sport that have the last minute changes in the field of play. We also have field of play changes for badminton because the carpeting of the court wasn't soft enough. Then we also have changes in the volleyball field of play and also handball as well. So these last minute changes make the game's delivery very challenging, but it's also make it fun. And the last part, what can be improved in the result? And there's a lot of things that can be improved, but one thing I want to mention is regarding the service offering, especially in terms of fan engagement, to attract the fan, to provide them with more information and more interesting facts of the competition. For example, here, okay, this is a screenshot of the US Master Games that happened last week, where you can see in the middle is the streaming or the video stream of a golfer together on the left. On the right, actually, you can see his location of his golf ball and his score throughout the whole round, plus his bio. This provides the complete information about the golfer, and you can follow actually your favorite golfer and watch shot by shots at any time that you want in any round that he has performed. So the ability to follow your favorite athlete give the fan a much better engagement. So imagine in the future that you can watch the shots in football for Neymar in any competition, any shots that he have takes or any goal that he have scored, you are able to watch it in replay anytime that you want, together with the result and the streaming itself. Another example of improvement that can be done for fan engagement is to combine both augmented reality and the live streaming or the live TV of the sports. For example, here is a screenshot of the augmented reality app of an NBA games, where you can see the statistic of the shooting precision for each of the player. With this information, a fan become more engaged and knowing which player will have a better chance to score and which are not. And in the future, with the development of 5G and also with the Internet of Things, such as new device that you are put onto the athlete, such as minuscule cameras or equipment that you can measure the heart rate of the athlete. Once this information is displayed together on TV, you'll be able to know, okay, whether the athlete is in stress or the athlete is calm, and you also be able to see from the point of view of the athlete itself. Thus, these provide you more details of the stories and give you more engagement. Okay. So these are the few examples that I can provide on what the result that can be improved in the future. So that's all for my presentations. So back to you, Neil.
Thank you very much, Heng Hong. That was very interesting. I really enjoyed especially the part about the augmented reality and the percentage of the goal of each person. I never actually really thought about that, but no, that was really interesting. And I was actually fascinated I have always been fascinated of how much hardware is required and how results is actually being used by so many different platforms, how it's integrating together. And you mentioned one very interesting point, which is very connected to my area, which is accreditation and sport entries, because without the information that I get, you will not be able to do your job, right?
Yeah, exactly. So we are the downstream system. So without any personal data of the athlete or the event that they enter, there's no point to have any time and scoring or anything. Otherwise, okay, we will not know who the athlete are competing in.
Yes, yes. And you mentioned one very important point, I think, because you showed the picture of the two pools in Rio, one which is green and one which is normal blue. And you mentioned that every that small little, not that big change actually impacts technology, even though we listen to it from a venue management point of view, we listen to it from a security point of view. I mean, people don't really realize that actually a change like that also impacts a lot on technology sometimes, you know, and the amount of work that you need to do. I guess you had to sometimes just bring the entire hardware from one venue to another venue just overnight because of that changes. So I want to ask you, because you've been in the
for example,
yes.
Actually, for example, for volleyball itself, okay, because when we do the changes of the field of play in volleyball, what happened is that we have to take out all the timing and scoring, so that they change the floor and put in the new carpet, and we have to put in again the timing and scoring system on top of it. So every changes, okay, impact technology, because we are one of the downstream and the final part of the whole delivery, and we are very dependent on the other team as well. So that's why the service delivery is important, that everybody work together. It's not just result, or it's not just sport. Actually, everybody have to work together to make sure that we can see the competition.
Yeah, and that's one point that you brought up very, very importantly, where you have all the different roles actually acting as one unit to deliver one objective, which is the success of the game. So everybody is actually going towards the same path, and regardless of whether you're a volunteer, whether you're a contractor, whether you are an international federation, everybody is just going for one objective, which is to deliver the best games ever. So, Heng Hong, you've been in the industry for nearly 2 decades, and I'm sure that since 2004, where you were working with Athens Olympic and Paralympic Games, you have seen massive transformation of how technology has affected how results are presented and consumed by spectators and viewers. I mean, from what you presented, especially with regards to fan engagement, that recently I think has been something which has been booming a lot with the social media and everything. So just out of curiosity, what is the biggest change since you started in 2004 right until now? What has been the biggest change that you have seen in results?
Well, the biggest change is, of course, how the result is presented to the viewer. In Athens, at that time, okay, most of the thing are still in the web page, so you can see the result, okay, coming in slowly, okay, and then it's updated in a way that they're page by page. But nowadays, not only you have the result in real time, the moment when you watch it on TV, you can see it in as well, or in your app, and you can use it as a second screen, so that you know exactly what has happened, or you can even follow some of the competition as well, okay, with the website and also the mobile apps, but also the integration with other part of the result system, such as what I mentioned just now, the integration of the video together with the result, okay, and you can quickly search for the athlete that you want to follow, and then have a quick view of what had happened and what is the result is. So this is the big changes, okay, that has happened. In Tokyo, very soon, okay, you'll be able to see the athlete performance at the same time, together with the live TV, so that you know, okay, throughout the run, what is the speed of the athlete, okay, and all that at live TV itself, where things are overlaid together. So these changes how results are being presented, and it creates a much better storytelling compared to the golden old times.
Definitely. And actually, talking about that, I think that doesn't only relate to sport events. I mean, I was watching the US elections last, and it also relates because, you know, I was checking my handphone, I was checking the website, I was looking at the TV, and everything was, you know, in sync. And so that's also kind of a result system, isn't it? But yeah, I think that has been a big change. And I think that goes to one question that we have from the audience, from my founder Gustavo. He said, "Hi Heng Hong, thank you for the presentation. Looking at recent events, do you still see reports being printed out? Do you believe we are still far from a fully digital score and results operations?"
Well, I think that actually in Rio we try to have a fully digital part of the result, not having paper to be printed. However, based on the practice of some client, such as the press or the TV commentator, where they rely on printed paper so that they can mark or comment on the athlete, this is something that cannot be avoided. So we still keep some of it, but we have drastically reduced the number of paper that has been printed. So, for example, in the main press center, we don't pre-print the report or put it into the pigeonhole, whereas we allow the press or any other people that they want the report to print it themselves, so that we can reduce the number of the printed report, as this is being given on demand. So, but this really links to the practices and also the preference of the client. If later on, once more and more people, such as now, more and more people prefer reading through their digital device and no longer prefer the books, then this trend could change furthermore in the future.
Yeah, I totally understand some of the sports, like you said, you know, that they still want to have something in front of their hands and use a pen and paper. But looking at the technology advancements, I mean, I know that, for example, the sport of surfing, their entire scoring system is done through an app already for surfing. So that is something I guess we can see in the future going forward, especially for the traditional sports to move more into advanced technology like this. I believe slowly more international federations will start to change their method. And based on what you said, I think we can achieve zero paper, fully digital results.
Yeah, it's a good way to aim at for sure, especially with the digital part. You get the result much faster. You get information immediately rather than wait for the thing to be printed. So here, sooner or later, my opinion is that we will move to the digital part.
Yeah, definitely. So then, have you experienced where the result systems has failed? I mean, I guess what I'm asking is that, is there a backup, for example?
Yes. Of course, there is a backup, and there's a backup of a backup as well. Yeah. So the core part is the timer and scoring system. Timer and scoring system itself is the most important part to be run. So there is a backup of the timer and scoring system. Sometimes even another backup on that, just to make sure that the competition can run properly. Well, every other system, such as the result distribution system, also have what we call an A system and a B system to make sure that if one is failed, then you can move to another one to make sure that the competition can run properly. Furthermore, in the infrastructure side, okay, we also have the main and the backup to make sure that, okay, in case the main data center had failed or the main cloud infrastructure had failed, you can also move to the backup as well. There's plenty of backup just to make sure that the competition is running, because on live TV, you cannot stop the live TV broadcasting, and result is an important component of the live TV. So we need to make sure that there's a backup, okay, to make sure that this is running in case there's any issue in the main system.
Yeah. I think definitely backups are very, very important in all technology aspects of an event. There must be a backup of a backup. Well, at least a backup of a backup. But talking, I mean, coming back to what I mentioned about the US elections, I guess my next question is, because you worked in Expo before, what do you think the major difference from a technology standpoint is from sporting and non-sporting events?
Well, of course, the most important part is there's no result if it's a non-sporting event. Okay, but apart from that, some other key systems are there. Accreditation, for example. Okay, you are needed in both sporting and non-sporting events. Another system that is used to manage the operations of the event, such as transportations, workforce, volunteers. So these systems are still needed for that. And one key difference as well for Olympic Games and non-sporting event like Expo is the quota or the guideline coming from the IOC. IOC provide very detailed guideline through the technical manual on how many athletes can attend, how many press can attend for each continent, and so forth. So this limit the number of people and the number of cards they need to be printed. Whereas in Expo, where there is no guideline really on quotas, and it's a very long event of 6 months, then you don't really know how many people is going to come, and you do not know how many accreditation you are going to print them. Therefore, it's more difficult to estimate the number of cards you require or the bus that you require, okay, to handle the daily load, okay, for the people that is coming. So these are the difference between sporting events and non-sporting events.
Okay. Thanks for that. I think, I mean, like for the IOC, of course, they have very big guidelines and quotas. And I think also from a sporting perspective, you already know from the beginning how many participants are going to participate. There is a quota for each sport, and using that quota, then you can roughly estimate what are the different service levels around, so that you can plan technology. I guess that's a little bit different than having a non-sporting event when how many you don't know how many people to expect, how many people to come for that event.
Yeah, especially since you already committed a certain service level that you want to provide, then you need the number of resources to cover that service level. But without knowing the volume of the people that are coming, then it's very difficult to know whether your resources that you have is able to manage those service level or not. So this is the tricky part. So in Olympic Games, okay, is being managed in a much more controlled way, since the volume of the number of athletes and the number of press are known beforehand. So the organizing committee is able to control the resources and know what are the resources that they need to deliver the service level that they have committed. Definitely. Rather in other non-sporting event, if the volume is unknown, is more complicated, and most likely you will only know it very, very close to the event itself, or you might even need to adjust in the middle of the events.
Yeah, definitely. So, wow, look at the time. It's already 9:45. So I'm just gonna end with one last question from me. But there's some comments from our audience, from Irene, who is the president of the Malaysian Ice Skating Federation. She said, for major skating championship, competitors can already view the results via an app. So I think, I mean, in terms of international federations like that, they are moving towards a more fan engagement, social media approach to get to maintain their sport, I think.
Yeah, I think the direction now for the digital transformation is is definitely moving forwards, both from the sporting event side and also from the international federation side. So, for example, table tennis has a huge revamp on their branding and also on how they want to deliver their competition. So, in terms of the digital technology as well, that will move along with it. And I can see that also there are, because of new technology that's coming for 5G, for example, or the where you can get much faster speed, then you are able to see much more information coming along during the live competition itself, plus the usage of the Internet of Things, where devices are connected with the athlete, so you can very quickly know what is happening to the athlete in terms of their biometric data and so forth. So with these combinations, okay, a lot of things is going to give much more better services, and to make it more interesting to give to the fan. It all depends on the imagination of the event itself and also the sport federation itself.
Yes. So my last question to you, Heng Hong. What was the most challenging project that you have had to endure in your career?
Well, it could be so many, but I think the Ashgabat Games, which is the 2017 the fifth martial art games, that one is quite challenging itself, because we have changes of requirement in the middle of the competition. So we have to do some adjustment in order to make sure that we deliver the service according to the new requirement. The stakeholder is important in this case. So you can see last minute changes doesn't happen not only before the competition, but also in the middle of competition as well, that it could change. So
yeah, I bet that was also a very difficult sport, also taking into account the country that it was held in as well, outside of that technology change and stuff like that. But I think also, but I believe it ran very smoothly with all the international experiences that they brought in from different parts of the world.
Yes, and also the helping as well from the international federation as well, in order to provide, okay, what is the expected the service level, okay, you know, to balance that as well.
Yeah. All right. So thank you very much, Heng Hong, for your time today and that you shared your experience with us. I hope that those of you who are listening in and those of you who will be watching this recording later on got a little bit of better understanding of the complexity of delivering results in major sporting events. We also talked about results not in a sporting event, so you can see similarities between a non-sporting event and also a sporting event. But I think what Heng Hong touched upon is innovation right now going forward is very much depending on that fan engagement, the storytelling, and I think the promptness of getting results right at the tip of your fingers as quick as possible, right? So if you have any further questions, please do not hesitate to contact Heng Hong through his LinkedIn. You can find him with his full name, Chan Heng Hong. He's on LinkedIn, so just drop him a message. He'll be more than happy to answer your questions. I take this opportunity to thank everyone who are here right now and who has been following us on our Ignites Knowledge What Is series since July. I hope that you guys look out for maybe season 2 next year that we may be launching. If you haven't followed us on our social media channels, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, I suggest you follow us, and I hope to see those new followers after this. Do subscribe also to our YouTube channel, where we have all our Ignites What Is series there. We also have all our Ignite showcases. So do subscribe to our YouTube channel. Ignites right now is working on some interesting projects, especially one that we have just launched recently on Safe Sport, which is Ignite Safeguarding. So do watch out for that, and also do watch out for more of our education initiatives coming up. So once again, I would like to thank you, Heng Hong. Thank you for your time. And thank you everyone who have joined us today. Please stay safe and wash your hands. Bye-bye.